Like, what do
Yeah.
you think the U.S. left is doing wrong? And kind of
Yeah.
what is your theory of change coming from your Marxist-Leninist perspective? Go ahead, Luna.
Okay. So I think that the biggest obstacle that leftists in the US have to deal with, have to overcome is false consciousness. Right now is false consciousness. And that false consciousness attaches to white supremacism, racism, sexism, chauvinism, all kind of problems that are in the course of indoctrination that you've been fed your whole life. So false consciousness means that like you fall into first because you don't have a proper education system. You don't learn about Marxism, Leninism, and communism and how capitalism actually works. So, and you got like all the knowledge that you study, self-study, and the thing that you like being like seeing and observing your whole life, they conflict with each other. That is why it creates a false consciousness in your head. That is why many of you rather fall into the trap of idealism. Means that like you just sit there and think about the utopia, the society after the revolution and how you're going to run that society. I see lots of leftists in the USA, in the West in general, keep like arguing and hating on each other because they don't agree with a single point about a society after revolution. Like my friends, my dearest friends, you can't even start a revolution yet. Why are you talking about this shit? It doesn't matter. The priority right now is to do something, go out there, organize, start a movement. Start like the dual power structure and have a revolution, and after that we can talk about how to run a post-revolutionary society. But lots of you just fall into this trap, and this is a trap that just like make you sit comfortably in your armchair and hating on each other and make you feel like you are superior in theory, because like, oh, I am here, I can think of a perfect society and nobody can challenge me that, and if you don't agree with me, you're not real leftist. Like to people like us born and living in Vietnam, yes, our socialist path, we did many things wrong. We did make mistakes, but at the same time, we also had many achievements. The first achievement is that we defeated imperialism and we had our own country, our own Marxist-Leninist nation to this day. And that is why I'm been saying like I am a dialectical materialist, means that I see things with comprehensive and historical viewpoint. I am aware that Vietnam still has many problems. We are not perfect, but at least we are a few steps further than you in the sense of having a successful revolution and running society after that. And this is my biggest critic against the Western leftists. Lots of those people, they just sit there in their own crappy, overpriced apartment that owned by the rich landlord, and they sit there and then they criticize Vietnam, they criticize socialist Vietnam by like, oh, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you're trade of communism. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, if you really want to criticize it and you really want to know how hard it is to have a revolution and then to fight against US imperialism and to still survive to this day in this capitalist hell world, go like do something over there, and after you have a successful revolution, okay, then come talk to me. And we would love for you to prove that Vietnamese are wrong. We would love for you to teach us how to run a socialist society or something like that. And that is the biggest problem that we see. Like, you're wasting so much time bitching on each other without like doing anything.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say. I've been trying to elevate great voices instead of focusing on the clowns as much. And the situation that you just explained is the problem that we have where in the United States people view leftism as a moral virtue. They're actually not viewing it in terms of it as a in terms of policy, in terms of intellectualism, like where do you stand in terms of government power, worker power? That has nothing to do with it now. Like, their mindset is leftism is good, right wing is bad. And this is deeply unserious and anti-intellectual. This is why you guys should read Luna in her analysis on Marxist-Leninism. And this is why I've been trying to do this as well. Learn the difference between power struggles, between workers. Because as it is right now in the United States left, if you are a leftist, if you agree with me, you're on the right if you disagree with me. Right? And then they go after each other because it's if you're if you live a privileged lifestyle, you really have nothing that's really on the line. It's all about virtue signaling who is most down for revolution, not actually about creating change. So when Voss calls you out, or whenever these people try to virtue signal, pretend they know everything about social change instead of approaching a community built response where you come together and learn like we're doing here today. When you see that, you know it's all about ego. It's all about them saying, "Oh, I'm a leftist because I'm a good person." It's not actually about creating a movement, creating change, and that's the giant problem I see. I see people get mad because I just had a conversation with a bunch of anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist people I like to call leftists about like the trucker convoy and where we differ on this. Like we should have conversations about an open dialogue, but now it's like we want to be in our own little bubble, and then we may release diss tracks. Like we come out with a diss track on YouTube, we're gonna slander this other person here just to increase our rating and views instead of actually having conversation, which is what we've been trying to push back on. We do have a few super chats, and then we're probably gonna wrap up here very soon.
Nick, I have a really important piece of history that I really want to tell you. If you want to
Oh yeah,
research more
absolutely.
about this.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah,
I would love to
it's
hear
about
it.
black people and union in the U.S. Just in case, maybe you know about this already, but just in case, in the
It'd be
U.S.
a great learning. It'd be a great learning opportunity. I would love to hear it.
Yeah. From like two hours, like from like 1920s to all the way to 1960s, when the workers in the U.S. trying to unionize. The fact was that like white workers, when they try to unionize, they excluded all black workers, even though like black workers came to them and talked to them and wanted to join the white people's union. White people actually said no and dump all the black workers out of the movement. So when white unions workers had like a huge big strike, and then all the capitalists like hire black workers to work for them because white workers strike. Black workers like they were dumped out of the union, so like, and they were starving, so of course they took those jobs. And then white worker turn their back against black workers once again and blame them like, you are the traitor of the movement. This is exactly, that's what just happened to you.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you brought that up because this is something I actually been trying to highlight. And me and Affinity, we've been saying all the time, like we need a movement that is black-led, indigenous-led, because we in the United States we are seeing the results of white saviorism and a white-led movement. And what you're describing is what we've been saying on the show, where you already had the white working class betray us multiple times. So when people ask me why do I have these strong litmus tests, like I ask people to support reparations, a strong black agenda, defunding the police, and if you don't do that, that's a red flag because that's a sign that you're gonna sell us out later. And they already done that, Luna. The progressive movement already sold black people out multiple times. The progressive movement signed up and gave more money and power to the Capitol Police, gave them more surveillance powers. So they sold us out to the police state when they supported the crime bill. They sold us out to the police state when they supported Hillary Clinton. And they did it again when they gave Joe Biden more money to give money to the police. So I love you brought it up, and I want to give you more time to explain that more in fact, because this is a problem that we've been going on for a very long time. And we've been trying to educate people. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. EJ, my partner, is making a very big video about this. It might come next week, where he like documented all the writings from the 50s, from the 20s, all the way to the 70s about the union movement and how the racism between the union movement of white workers against black workers and how it intertwined with the propaganda coming from the United States. These are the knowledge that got buried because your state doesn't want people to know about this. And I am encourage you to go check out Non-Compete's channel, where he like literally will make a documentary to go to deep dive into this part of forgotten history of
Yeah,
the
I
union and the
need to learn
workers'
more about
movement.
this because I explained the concept that um, there was just like this big debate, and feel free to add more to this, but there was a big debate among like the early communist and socialist movements among white workers on whether they should adopt Negro issues. And that was a giant debate that was going on for years. And we all know who won that debate, right? It didn't go well for us. And when people ask why you have a lot of black Marxist Leninists in the state that are much more militant about maintaining our community and maintaining our leadership, because historically it's been true that you guys negotiate ourselves out. So what happens is you may have a working class uprising that have good intentions, right? But then whenever there's a sign of you guys having progress, you guys go to the negotiation table and then you guys will cut us out. You guys will take benefits for yourself and leave us out of the table. This is literally what FDR did when he wrote us out of the New Deal, right? But
Yeah,
is there anything
yeah.
else you want to add to that, Luna? Because we got a few good questions to
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. That's such an important thing to discuss, and we don't reach our conclusion for no reason. And I'm all about allyship, right? If you're a white ally,
Yeah.
you really in the struggle with us, we got nothing but love and respect for you. But
Exactly.
I don't even understand why you guys even want to be out in front. Like if we're fighting for something that mostly impact our community, why not let a black or indigenous person lead this? I got pushback from many white people on
Exactly.
this. Oh my God, you don't want to include us in our movement? I never said that. You part of this movement with us, but why do you want to be? Why do you want to be in leadership of our liberation? You guys, that doesn't make sense. Like, why are you centering it around yourself? To me, that like when I stand in solidarity with my Latino brothers and sisters on ICE, I'm not trying to be the leader of that movement. I'm listening to my Palestinian brothers and sisters when they talk about Israel apartheid. I don't want to be the leader of that movement. So it never makes sense to
Exactly.
me why like white people would jump in front of our issues. They're like, oh no, you can't lead your own movement. No, we should, because if we don't, historically you guys negotiate us out. So I love that you brought
Exactly.
that up. I love that you brought that up, Luna. It's such a great we could have a whole other conversation on that alone, maybe.